and thank you for remaining with us. Now, when we're looking at stock performances, when we're looking at opportunities trading on the stock market, one of the things we are looking out for, first of all, here is where is the gain? Where am I going to be able to gain from? And when you look at the stock market today, it has quite many areas, as I'm going to mention, of course, for you to be able to benefit. So let's look at the index, first of all, the All-Share Index. Now, the All-Share Index, for starters, is what tracks the average performance of all the listed entities or the listed companies on the Uganda Securities Exchange, meaning it's the benchmark in performance indicator. So if you don't listen to everything else on the show, at least have something to do with the index. Now, yesterday was 15th of August, and the index went down by 9.98 points, and that was a 0.74%, meaning on average, there was a total decline of 9.98 points, and a 0.74% daily decline yesterday. And closing the day, if you see that graph at the end of yesterday on the 15th of August, the points were actually 1,331.07. And when we look at the 1 week performance a week ago, we are still on a gain of 2.13%. Now, if you look at that graph, a week ago, we were around 1,200 something points, right? And 4 weeks ago, we were around even much lower than that, at around exactly, maybe in the month of July, at exactly 1,200 points. Now, on a 4-week basis, we are still gaining by 6.44%. But on overall year-to-date, we are still on the losing side at 6.31%. Now, the local companies in Uganda, they have also an index called the Local Company Index, and this tracks the performance of the local companies based on their performance on average. And when you look at the Local Company Index yesterday, it increased by 0.09%. Remember, we talked about, I don't want to lose you now. We have the All-Share Index that tracks all the companies, and then the Local Company Index that tracks the domestic equities or the domestic companies that are listed domestically. Because as we all know, on the exchange, you can have a company listing from another country or another exchange. So long as they're willing to list, it's okay. And so those are called cross-listed. And then we have those that are domestically listed, those that are our own companies within the country, present here in the country, and of course founded here in the country, maybe. Then when you look at that particular index for the local companies, it increased. Because if you remember, the only gainer we had on the market was MTN, who gained by 1.66%. And so that drove the local company index by over 0.09% to reach 276.71 points, making it a 1 week gain, still gaining on a weekly basis at a 1.24% gain, and a 4-week loss, however, of 0.91%. So in terms of a month, the local companies are still doing not so well, but in weekly performance, when you look at the weekly performance, we're still on the gaining side, both in the Local Company Index and in the All-Share Index, meaning things are not as bad as maybe they seem to be after all. And when we talk about the average performance here, these indices are introduced to help, for example, foreign investors who may not know the nitty-gritties of a stock market. They may not know exactly which companies, what MTN is, what CIPLA is. These foreign investors usually just have a look at the index, and it informs them of how good or how healthy the markets are, or how badly off they are as well. So it's a very, very important market indicator, which we always must analyze and look at very, very critically. So in terms of our all share index, yes, we are doing bad on a daily basis performance. But in a weekly performance, we're still gaining, and as well as in the 1 month or 4 week performance, we are still on the gaining side in as regards that particular performance. But the local companies, we're seeing that on a daily basis, they have increased. And then, of course, in the weekly basis, they have also increased. But in the month, in a monthly basis, we are still seeing a decline, though, in the number of points on that particular index. Now let's look at the top gainer here, who was MTN. Now MTN Uganda yesterday gained by 1.66%, closing the day with a price of 190.53 points. MTN, as I said, is the youngest company on the exchange, but it's doing wonders. Yes, well, I may have exaggerated maybe a little bit, but MTN Uganda has proved to be a very, very, very active counter, and one that you can rely on for liquidity, one that has at least a little bit stable pricings, and that we have seen also having several price movements, at least here and there, providing investors with chances. As you can see on that graph, that is the particular performance of the MTN stock since listing last year in December 2021. You can see, of course, at first there was a decline in price. People were panic selling. There was a lot of speculations. People had not actually understood the stock market, and you see that decline from the month of January 2022 all the way to mid-February 2022, from over 200 shillings to 160 shillings, was definitely caused by very many people selling off after buying on the IPO, which was at 200 shillings. So people felt like, what was the point? It's very disturbing, and some people actually don't understand the patience, the need for patience within the stock markets, particularly here in Uganda. So you see there was a lot of panic selling, and people lost a lot of money and lost value because they bought at 200 shillings and they saw the prices moving down towards 180, then 170, and not knowing that this stock actually can actually move back and even move beyond what you were able to buy in the first place. So as I said, the wiser investors always buy when these stocks are going down. When people are thinking things are bad, let us pack our bags and go. Seasonal investors are really buying, and they are getting to gather more stock for themselves for the future. And that's what some people did, and that is people who bought at 160 right now are enjoying a capital gain of over 30 shillings. See? 30 shillings. So if you bought this stock in Feb this year, when we were selling at 160 shillings, you're right now enjoying a gain of over 30 shillings on every single share that you're holding. To put this in perspective, I usually get 1 million shares. So let's say you bought 1 million shares at 160 shillings per share. That's 160 million. That was what you invested in initially at MTN Uganda. And of course, this is just a hypothetical figure just to give us an illustration of what really could have happened. Right now, the stock is at 190.53. Let's say you sell at 190. How much money have you made, really? You've made yourself 30 million shillings. You didn't go to work a day for MTN. You didn't have to go and, of course, see how mobile money is, sold, or you didn't have to go to the MTN service center and give a hand. No, this is money you invested on your own. That is, your residual income probably that you're not going to need, for example, in the next 6 months or so, and you decided to invest it right now. So look at it in that perspective, that when you're buying stock, I kindly advise you to be patient. Don't panic sell. That is one of the worst decisions you can make on the stock market. Panic selling, that everything is doing bad, so the markets are bad, so let me sell and go and find something else. Well, you'll find something else and still invest and still find losses and then invest in something else. You will never get value for your money. When you see the dust rising, you just need to do one thing: buy more if you can. Buy more and wait. Buy more and wait. Buy more and wait. And the more you wait, the longer you wait, you will see yourself actually get in the gaining position very soon. Sooner than you think, sooner than later, the stock market will rise again, and definitely you will be one of the people enjoying on the capital gain, as we can see for MTN here. Now, MTN has, as of course I've mentioned, now let's look at the deeper details here, has been trading at prices ranging between 180 and 190. However, it got listed on the exchange with a price of 200 shillings, though that was last year in the month of December 2021. And we entered the year, and the company came in with a price of 194.9. 194 actually 100. It was 194.99 Ugandan shillings. That was the opening price for the new year on the 1st of January. And since then, comparing that to 190.53 Ugandan shillings, MTN has lost, in terms of year to date, about 2.29% of their price valuation, and they are ranked in position number 7 in terms of year to date performance on the stock market. Remember, year to date, we are talking about 1st January to date, you get? And so we don't talk about a year ago exactly. Some people usually confuse year to date with a year ago. No, we are talking about from 1st of January to currently, the current date. And when we look at yesterday alone, they traded a total volume of 45,702 shares with a gross turnover of 8.71 million worth of these shares. So talking about turnover, that is the total value of shares, the monetary value of the shares. The shares in total yesterday were 45,702, and they're valued at 8.71 million Ugandan shillings after trading on this particular day. They have, however, the total of about 22.4 billion shares outstanding, meaning the shares that are out there, that are floated on the exchange, shares that are held by shareholders, are a total of 22.4 billion shares. Now, we multiply those shares outstanding, 22.4 billion shares, and multiply them by the current price to come up with what we call the market capitalization. That is the total value of the shares on the market. And MTN currently has a total market capitalization of 4.27 trillion Ugandan shillings on the stock market. Now, after gaining yesterday by 1.66%, or roughly 1.7%, that is if we round off, MTN closed with a price of 190.38. And in terms of traded stock, MTN currently is the 4th most traded stock. Remember, we talked about the market capitalization of 4.27 trillion. In terms of market capitalization, it is coming in position number 2, and in terms of year-to-date performance, it is coming in position number 7. But then, in terms of the most traded stock, it is coming in position number 4, meaning when we look at the volumes being traded, it is the 4th most traded on counter. As I told you, when you're trading in a certain stock, you have to have a goal. And the goal, if it's a long-term goal, yes, fine. You need to also assess some of these parameters to see, in the long term, will I be able to trade this stock and get back my money? Will I be able to find people willing to buy this stock in the next 4 years? Now, that is analyzed based on the trading. How much volumes does this company trade a month? How much does it trade in a week, on a daily? Does it even trade on a daily basis? Does it trade in a fortnight basis? Does it trade in 6 months? And this is the performance we analyze here for you to actually take home. Now, from the 11th of May to the 15th of August, MTN Uganda has been able to trade a total volume of 2.18 billion shillings. That is the total worth of shares, and the shares that have been traded within this period from the 11th of May to the 15th of August, that is the last 3 months, is 11.7 million shares. You can find that, okay? It's fourth most traded stock. And we know that Bank of Baroda is the number one most traded stock. So you can compare these two companies based on, yes, the traded stock, but also you compare them based on the stock price. Because, yes, maybe Bank of Baroda is a most traded stock, but it's at 85, and then MTN is at exactly 185. Are you willing to put in extra 100 shillings for MTN? Yet there is Bank of Baroda, which trades at 85 shillings and is having more trading in terms of volume. But then also, we look at what we call the average. Yes, fine, maybe you have, you're the most traded stock, but on average, how many shares do you sell per day? Per trading session, that is to say, because of course, it is hard to find a counter that trades really on a daily basis with a very, very high top-notch volumes, 2 million, 1 million, at least for our young market here in Uganda. But you will still find disparities in terms of the companies that trade huge amounts of volumes and also companies that trade huge average volumes. So on average, you also have to monitor that. Now, on average, we're seeing that MTN traded within this period of 3 months an average of 185,304 shares per trading session. That is on average. This is not like every day, but on average. We're looking at average shares that are sold per day, per trading day, where they have some volume traded. And they have reached a volume high of 2.11 million shares. That transaction was done on the 12th of July within this period. Still, are you a person who is interested in buying huge volumes, selling huge volumes? Still, you have to analyze how much was their highest volume within the last 3 months. Now, I've just given you, for MTN, they have had a highest volume of over 2.11 million shares that were traded in a single day on the 12th of July within the period of the last 3 months. And now, looking back just a few days ago, on the 15th, we have seen they had 45,700 shares. On the 12th, that was Friday, the last trading day of the week, they had 288,000 shares. And on the 11th, the day before, they had about 15,000 shares. And on the day before, that is the 10th, they had 15,000 as well. And then 21,000, 6,000, meaning this is a stock that has been trading daily. Every single day, they have been trading since last week and even the weeks before that. So if you're looking for liquidity, MTN could be the number one stock for you. Because as I've told you, if people are willing to buy and sell on the market, that is liquidity for you who wants to actually buy and sell in the short term. But as you know, on the show, we don't advise really short-term investors for this case, especially those who want to gain some money and get some capital. And of course, that is capital gain. You must be investing for the long term. But for the short-term investors, MTN is one of the companies you can look up to. However, you must be ready to part with at least 185 to 190. And at the moment, the opening price today was 190 shillings. The market is open. The stockbrokers are doing their best. You can reach out and be able to purchase yourself some stock. I can say, I think MTN is one of the most successful IPOs we have seen. Of course, very many IPOs in the past have been done. We've seen before MTN, we had Cipla back in 2018. We had, for example, Centum and other companies in 2012, 2011, and so many other years. But something unique about MTN is the fact that MTN came on board with a very unique way of doing things. You could buy for the first time shares using your phone without need to go to any office to fill in any paperwork. You could open yourself an SCD account. And they actually were able to leave us with that gift. That right now, using your MTN line, if you're an MTN subscriber, you can still open yourself an account, an SCD account, a Security Central Depository account, and be able to buy shares. That was then. You could be able to buy shares for MTN then during their IPO using your phone. But interestingly, the fact that you could open the SCD account with your phone remained in play, even to date. So that was a very unique aspect of MTN there, and probably something that encouraged many people to buy stock for the very, very first time because of how easy, how convenient they made it for people to be able to access these markets. And of course, I hope you've heard something about MTN, you've heard something about their performance. They're the fourth most traded on. They gained yesterday by 1.66. We can see them now crossing over the line of 190. We don't know. We could go back to the initial price of 200 shillings for the first time, crossing the IPO price of 200 shillings. That is MTN stock for you. And of course, I hope you had something to note, especially about their volume and activity on the stock market. They're providing you with a huge opportunity for you to buy shares into them. 190 shillings is all you need at the moment to buy just one share at MTN. We're going to take a very quick break, and we return also. We look at Stanbic. Stanbic ended with on the other side of the line, that is on the losing side. However, there is something still to note about Stanbic. And if you want to know more, stick with us. We'll be right back after this quick break.